Hey guys, Jonathan was out here for JM Sports 100, the JM Sports Show. How is it going? It is NASCAR season once again, which means it is time for race recaps, and I am here to do a recap for what was a very, very entertaining NASCAR Xfinity Series race that just took place, the PowerShares QQQ 300, the season opener from Daytona. And boy, there is a lot to talk about, so let's try to get through this as quickly as we can. I actually was at one point today thinking about not doing this race, but I'm sure glad I did because, like I said, there was a lot of action with this new NASCAR format, which we'll talk a little bit about, but I don't think it was all from the NASCAR format. So here we go. Let's get things underway right away. And let's start things off. I got this notepad that I go off of things I want to talk about, and it is completely full. So here we go. Let's start with stage one. Actually, before we do that, let's go back to the pre-race. Austin Dillon actually lost a set of tires as a penalty because it seemed like they had a substance was rubbed on the side, a cleaning substance was rubbed on the side of Austin Dillon's number 2 Chevrolet, so they did take a set of tires away. That ended up not being a huge deal, believe it or not, but anyway, here we go. Of course, for those of you who do not know, each race in all 3 series are set up in stages. Each stage, there are 3 stages to a race now. It's going to be one stage, then the caution flies, another stage, and then you have the final stage, the final run to the finish. I'll talk more about the importance of the stages when we get done. But this race ended up being 160 laps. Stage 1 and Stage 2 were both 30 laps, and we had a 60 lap Stage 3. So here we go with the first 30 lap stage. Lap 4 got underway early. Jeff Green, David Starr, both teammates. They both had some vehicle issues, put down some fluid. Not really much to talk about there. And then we go back green. Lap 19, Brandon Hightower would take a spin. Now, here is where things are going to get interesting, and this is something that Kevin Harvick, who is in the booth, and I put it on Twitter. I love when Kevin Harvick is in the booth for the Xfinity races because he is pretty good at it. But strategy is going to play a big role, I think, this season. We didn't really see it much today. Didn't really have many opportunities to see it today. But I think as far as these stages go, strategy is going to play a huge role because track position is going to be big. And so if you're not leading, if you're fourth or fifth or whatever the case may be with 3 laps to go, you may come in and you may pit before the stage is over. So then that way everyone else would pit, and then you could take the green and the leader up towards the front for the next stage. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out through the year. Pit road was a pretty interesting place. Both William Byron and Daniel Taft had their issues on pit road with getting in their boxes. William Byron and Taft really both had very long days, as really a lot of race cars did. Next up, we had lap 23, our first of 3 big ones. Okay, this ended up being a 28-minute red flag, and Scott Lagacy just got into the 42, and it triggered a chain effect. Now, I don't have all the guys that are involved in this, but here are some of them. William Byron was in it, Spencer Gallagher, Cole Custer, Ryan Reed, Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick as well, Garrett Smithley, and Scott Lagacy, of course, as well, like I said, involved in that. Now, the big thing about Ryan Reed did not hit anything. Ryan Reed just went for a spin. Keselowski had some damage, but was able to still have a good day out of it, as you will see. So as I said, ended up with a 28-minute red flag there, and then we go back green. And not long after, I think it was like 5 laps after, we went back green, we had another big one. Brandon Jones, Darrell Wallace Jr., Daniel Hemrick, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Suarez. Hemrick was the one that kind of got into that mess, kind of started that mess, just aggressive racing, and that's really what we saw. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the aggressive racing thing at the end, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to blame the new format for the wrecks and the damage and the carnage that we saw throughout tonight and this afternoon. So that would actually take us to the end of segment 1 because we went back under the yellow after the red, and that was lap 30, so that one ended. Elliott Sadler wins the first stage. Now, what that stage gets him is 1 point towards the playoff system. Okay? When you win a stage, you get 1 point towards the playoff system. And you also get 10 regular season points. Okay? So he gets 10 regular season points. And then second place gets 9, third gets 8, and so on and so forth. Now everybody is going to get points with every race. Okay, NASCAR after the top 10, NASCAR just goes off of I believe it's the regular system they go. I'll have to double check on that, but I believe it's the regular system that they go off of after that. So everybody will get points. There is not going to be any drivers who don't get points. So, by the way, so at the end of, get this, 40 drivers started this race. And at the end of segment 1, which was just 30 laps, we had wrecked 27 cars. We spent 46 minutes under the red flag. And under the red flag, so much time under caution, 12 minutes under green. Only 12 minutes of green flag racing in the first 30 laps, and it takes roughly, I think, about 50 seconds to get around Daytona. So that tells you we did not have a chance to see a whole lot of racing on stage 1. So the question is, would stage 2 be any calmer? We move on to stage 2 with just 22 cars on the lead lap. At this point, 12 cars were already out. Now that's a big thing. Now remember, it's easier to be out of a NASCAR race now. So let's just talk about that really quick. If you go to the garage, you're done. Okay, if you go right to the garage, you're done. If you can't fix something on pit road, you're done. If you go on pit road, you have 5 minutes. There's a 5-minute clock that you have to fix your repairs. If that time runs out, then you are done. Okay, there are a lot of people that don't like this rule, but I understand it. It's a safety thing. I get it. Okay, I get this rule. I understand this system. I don't think, and I'll talk about the system, as I said, at the end. So, Elliott Sadler would give up the lead to Pitt. He would end up restarting 7th. Wouldn't really matter. He would be right back up front towards the beginning anyway. Gahn would take the green flag as the leader. On lap 39, Benny Gordon would lose a tire. That'd be the second time he had issues. Benny Gordon had hit the wall earlier, and we stayed green, but the damage is probably what kind of ended up contributing to him losing that tire. Next up, we went back green on lap 43. We only went back green until lap 50. And then William Byron, who was a rookie from the Truck Series and one of the favorites to win this Xfinity Championship, came on the radio and said, "I think I'm blowing up. Something is wrong. This thing is not running right." He went to the pits, and so of course he was on the 5-minute clock. Luckily for him, it was just a dead battery, so they got that taken care of, and he was able to continue on. At lap 59, Brad Keselowski would get into the back of Brennan Poole, who would collect Blake Cook. Now, here's the weird thing about that accident. That accident, there was nothing wrong with what Brad Keselowski did. Brad Keselowski completely did it the right way. He bumped it, and even Brennan Poole said it. He tagged me the right way. It brought him around, which was completely strange. These cars were incredibly touchy today, incredibly sensitive, and it'd be something to watch to see if maybe they're that way again tomorrow, or if it was just the Xfinity Series package this weekend that caused that to be the case. So, once again, we would end under caution. And the segment under caution, Elliott Sadler would win that one as well. Also get his one playoff win, or one playoff point, and his 10 regular season points. At this time, Elliott Sadler, you can tell, was the class of the field. He was the fastest car all afternoon and all night long here in Daytona in this race. So we move on to segment 3. We have clean pit stops. Nothing goes wrong there. We go back green at lap 67. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing that interests me about this segment thing. To me, if you want to break it up into segments, that's fine. But when you bring out that caution to end the segment, to me, the laps should stop counting. Okay, I mean, I understand why they do it that way, but if you're going to restart a segment, you wouldn't restart a segment in the All-Star race with laps going when you're under caution. You restart the whole thing. So, I don't know why they don't do that. But anyway, so lap 60, what did I just say there? Lap 67 is when we finally got segment 3 started. Elliott Sadler would lead. However, on lap 67, caution would come out for debris, had a tire carcass on the track. We'd go back green. At lap 72, we'd stay green until lap 78, when Matt Tifft would end up blowing a left rear. And I think I might have screwed his name up in here somewhere. Actually, I think there's a difference between Matt Tifft and Daniel Taft. Don't get too confused there about that. Brad Keselowski would win the race off of pit road. We go back green with 39 to go, and this is where Austin Dillon's amazing driving would really come into play. Austin Dillon was leading at this time in the race. Austin Dillon had been involved in one of the previous big ones and basically had a really terrible looking bumper. You couldn't line it up. You could not line it up, so you had to be very, very careful when you were driving. And really, that was a good key when he was leading, and you wanted that lead. All you had to do was get behind him, and he would loosen him up. He'd get it out of the way. But he did a great job driving that car. Saved it many, many times. Did a good job keeping it up front. Fought hard, and wouldn't give in there. And that was just really, really amazing to see. Eric Almirola would then have issues with 19 to go. He was running really, really well at the time, so heartbreaking to see there. He did not even try the 5-minute clock. He went straight back to the garage, which of course will go as a DNF. Then with 17 to go, we have the third big one. That involved Joey Gase and Garrett Smithley, Ray Black Jr., and I believe Ryan Reed was in that one a little bit. Actually, I'm wrong on that, so I do apologize. I don't know why I put Reed down there, so I do apologize. But, and of course the big one, Elliott Sadler. Elliott Sadler involved in that wreck. And this is where we really saw the first big hit from the rule on the pits change or affect anything. He came on pit road, did not beat his 5-minute clock to try to get it fixed. He would not, the way his car was, he wouldn't have been competitive. He would not have been able to get that thing fixed enough to have a competitive speed, but still a tough, heartbreaking day for Elliott Sadler with no chance to even get back to the garage and try to get anything done with it, being unable to do that now with the rules. Not that it would have mattered with only 17 to go. At this time, Austin Dillon and Brendan Gaughan would pit. Casey Kane would lead as we go back green with 12 to go. We were clean for a while, but you knew something was going to happen. With 3 to go, Ray Black Jr. and Michael Annett make contact. Ray Black Jr. goes for a spin. Caution comes out because why not? So it would only be fitting that this race would end in a green-white checker, and that's exactly what it did. So here we go as we get set to go with the green-white checker. So the green flag drops, and all of a sudden, Ty Dillon is out of fuel. No fuel for the number 3 car of Ty Dillon, so he was kind of held up the line he was in there, but everybody able to avoid that okay. Everything stayed really, really clean until we came to the checkers. Good racing between Casey Kane and Ryan Reed. Austin Dillon kind of shifted back there towards the end. So it was down to Casey Kane and Ryan Reed, really. Ryan Reed hangs on to get his second career win. Both wins have come at Daytona. He also won the Xfinity season opener in 2015 at Daytona as well. So for him, that is the regular season points plus 5 championship points towards the playoff. So Ryan Reed is more than likely in the playoff. And he's more than likely locked himself into the playoff. One would have to imagine he all but has. So that's 5 bonus points for him there. That goes towards the championship when they reseed that. So that'll be pretty cool. That's a good way to start his season. Now, I want to talk about the finishing order for the race today, and then I want to kind of give you my thoughts on this whole new format thing and how I think it's going to go. By the way, before I do that, I just want to say super quick that I am not going to do any Camping World Truck Series stuff this year. I'm going to do strictly Xfinity and Cup Series races. So here we go. Let's take a look at the final finishing order for this race. First of all, we only had 7 lead changes in this race. Elliott Sadler, as we said, was very, very dominant. 10 cautions as well, so a tough one there. We ended up running 124. That one right there is, that stat right there is not correct, but nonetheless, here we go. Let's get a look now at how we finished up today. Finishing 40th was David Starr, 39th Jeff Green, 38th Clint King, 37th Cole Custer. Tough goal for him in his first Xfinity race with Stewart Haas Racing. Stewart Haas Racing's first Xfinity race as a team did not start out well. Jeremy Clements, 35th, 34th. Daniel Suarez, last year's champion, now not competing for a championship this year, competing for a championship in the Cup Series. He took over for Carl Edwards. He was involved in one of those wrecks. Had himself a rough day. 33rd, Darrell Wallace Jr. Eric Jones finished 32nd, finishing in the 31st position is, apologizes, this thing is not working very well. Daniel Hemrick, 30th, Justin Allgaier, 29th, Brandon Jones, Chris Cockrum, 29th, Benny Gordon finishes, Brandon Jones, 29th, Chris Cockrum, 28th, Benny Gordon, 27th, Brandon Poole, 26th, J.J. Yaley, 25th, Elliott Sadler, after winning the first 2 segments, finishing 24th, 18 laps down, Eric Almirola, 23rd, Anthony Kumpen, finishes 22nd, 21st for Ryan Sieg, 20th for Tyler Reddick. Reddick 1 lap down. He had a tough day, so a nice bounce back from him. Ty Dillon, even though he ran out of fuel, ends up finishing on the lead lap in 19th, so 19 cars on the lead lap when everything was all said and done. Ray Black Jr. bounced back to finish 18th, Mario Goslin 17th, Ross Chastain 16th, 15th for Blake Cook, 14th for Michael Annett. Brandon Hightower comes back nicely from that spin that he had and finishes 13th. 12th for Dakota Armstrong. Matt Tifft, finishes 11th. Harrison Rhodes 10th. William Byron, the rookie, finishes 9th. A great day for him after all the stuff that he went through. A good start to his season and a good start to his Xfinity career. Garrett Smithley, even after all the trouble he had, finishes 8th. Joey Gaze, 7th. Scott Legacy Jr. finishes 6th. We move on now to the top 5. Brendan Gaughan 5th. Brad Keselowski 4th. Austin Dillon 3rd. Casey Kane 2nd. And as we said, Ryan Reed would get the win. Now, we normally will look at points, but I'm not going to start looking at points until we get to next week at Atlanta. And before we talk about Atlanta for a second, I just want to talk very quickly about this format. I know that there are a lot of people that are going to say, wow, look at that. Look at how many cars we wrecked because of the format. Do I think the format had something to do with it? Yes. Do I think the racing is going to continue to be hard? Yes, I do. However, I think a lot of what we saw, I don't think it's going to be like this every weekend. I think what we saw is a little bit, just a little bit of the new format, but I think it's mostly Daytona. We're known for wrecking a lot of equipment in the Xfinity Series in Daytona. I think the Cup race will be just as intense tomorrow, but a more calm intense, if that makes any sense. I don't think we're going to see as many wrecked race cars. And I don't expect it all to be this way. I really don't. I know a lot of people don't like this new system. I'm not ready to say that I don't like it yet. If all the races end up being like this, where we're junking everything, then maybe. But right now, I'm not ready to fully say I don't like it. I don't see a problem with it after just one race. So I know a lot of people do. I'm okay with it for now. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Hopefully, as far as Atlanta goes, things will be a lot better for the Xfinity Series when we head on to our next race, which is going to be at Atlanta for the Renai 250. That is next Saturday, Saturday, March 4th, 1:30 Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. You can catch that race. So we are through one race in the Xfinity Series season, and this is pretty much how I'm going to cover stuff. I'm hoping after I get a little more used to the way this system works, I'll be able to not ramble as much and put together a little bit better video. But there was a lot to get through, and I just wanted to get through it. So this video is already long enough, so I'm gonna call it quits here. For you guys who are just Xfinity fans, I don't know a lot of people who are just Xfinity fans, but we will see you next week in Atlanta. And for you Cup fans, we will see you tomorrow for the Daytona 500. Don't forget to like the JM Sports Show page on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Links, as always, are down in the description. And that is going to do it for me. I am Jonathan with that for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show. And I will see you guys later.